Welcome back, everybody. We are the Clashing Conferences Network here tonight with you with the basketball podcast. Not to be confused with the members podcast, which is doing a lot of NBA and college right now, but this is specifically the NBA podcast, or at least a portion of it. I'm filling in for Dave as the host tonight. We got Tony P back repping the Bucks. We got Chris Topher Pete back repping the Knicks and a a big
No
up
winning.
15 against the Sixers right now. We got special guest Paul
Yeah.
Douglas from the football podcast coming on to rep his Blazers a little bit tonight. Excited to have you, Paul. We got episode 101 tonight. We had a big one last night for the members podcast, which was episode 100. We're doing big things here on the Clash and Conferences Network, and we want you to join us. All you got to do is go to the clashandconferences.com, fill out a real easy, simple online form, getting in touch with our content manager, our producer, and the next thing you know, you can be on a show here and part of the group chat. You can get special discounts as a member at Sparrow Hair Studios if you're close to Lancaster, PA. And, you get a lot of benefits out of being a member here, so please come join us. Host notes out of the way. Let's get into some NBA action, guys. We got a lot going on this week. We had Luka going back and getting a triple double against his own team. We got what else? We got rumors of Giannis going to the Knicks. I gotta hear
Yeah.
Tony and Chris talk about that one for next
You
year.
saw one
But
tweet about it, and we got rumors about it. Okay.
hey, Tony, Chris been talking about it.
All right.
We were talking about it pregame, man.
All right.
That's all I know.
How would you feel about that, Tony?
Well, so I saw the trade details of the tweet, and I mean, Towns for Giannis is obviously I don't think a fair trade. Giannis is one of the best players in the NBA. I don't think you can trade him for Towns. But then when you look at it, you see that you get the Wizards pick. I don't know how did the Knicks get the Wizards first round pick for next year, but it's top 10 protected, so we won't even get that pick. So I mean, I
Yeah,
don't think that is
unlikely.
a trade you can entertain. Like the Bucks need draft picks more than anything. And I don't think you can trade for
Right.
you don't trade horses for ponies. That's what I always have been told. Like so I don't think Towns is good enough and we're not getting any draft picks. So I would not take that trade. Topher, are you thinking
I've
that
heard
I'm
other
crazy or
trades.
what?
No, I agree with you. I mean, you shouldn't want to do that. But I've heard other rumors to try to get him and Towns to play together. Like you would probably end up with Josh Hart and some other things. Maybe Bridges. I don't know.
You're
But
not feeling your problem at the five with that. Now you got two awesome fours.
yeah, but we got Mitchell Robinson. He's in there for that's our starting center, and he's coming back.
How's
He's
he
coming
been
back
this year so
Friday.
far?
Neither
How's he
one of
been?
those
He's been
guys
pretty
is
hasn't-
good.
sliding
hasn't-
over to the three either.
See, we actually did it the right way, Paul. Unlike Embiid, where they announced it and had everybody like bullseye on him all year. Now look at them. Now he's getting ready to retire, possibly. Probably should.
There's
But
no chance he retires. Did you not see what he has
no,
left?
I know.
51 all the way up to 69 million
Yeah.
in like 3 or 4
Yeah.
years.
It's
He's not
funny, too.
retiring. He
It's
will
funny,
go
too.
out there in a wheelchair. He will get
'Cause
ADA compliant, like,
he'll just
ADA
sit.
Yeah.
compliant. Oh my God.
yeah.
Well, like Greg said, like nobody's going to trade for him. I mean, we all know that. He's going to hang around for 3 or 4 years. He's guaranteed 3 years, right? Isn't it like a 3-year?
3 years fully
Guaranteed.
guaranteed.
Yeah. Yeah, he's going to be a Sixer for at least the next 3 years. Nobody would trade for him.
Same
But
thing
now
with Paul George. He instantly is untradeable and is useless.
I just think it's funny that when they picked up all these moves, everybody was like, "Oh man, this is." I think they were. Mike, you probably know, betting on them to win the championship. They were up there pretty high in the beginning of the year. Sixers were up there.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. Yeah, and they suck. They're absolutely horrible.
They're terrible.
So, good for them.
A lot can
love it.
change. We were talking about on the members podcast last night, the preseason NCAA top 25. 5 of the top 10 teams in the preseason top 25 are no longer in the top 25, including the number 1 preseason team, Kansas has fallen all the way out.
I mean, they lost some big
I
games.
think
by a
UConn
lot
did
of
some
points.
falling too, didn't they?
They did. UConn was one of those 5 teams.
Well, I saw one today that they were trying to somehow give hope to the Suns because they're in the same kind of predicament as the Bucks. where you really can't do anything. You can't get more, like, you can't trade for players. Like, you're not gonna. There's no money. You're way over
Getting all worked
already.
up over there.
But they were
Big
saying that
cheese.
how, obviously you've got
I don't
two
know
of
how
the
you could
best
say
players in the
that team.
NBA.
The Suns are not in the same position as the Bucks. Are we serious? They're the
Yes,
11th
absolutely. It's
seed. The
nothing you
Bucks
can.
are right in the championship window
But
right now.
you're not even letting me make my point.
Okay, okay,
Who do I sound like? You got to let me make my point.
Me, good
okay.
for you.
So
All right.
at this point last year, the Pistons had half the wins. They already have more wins they have combined the last 2 years, and so
And they're
now they're
and
like
they're tied with Boston right now at halftime at 55.
So and that would be their 8th win in a row, and they're the sixth.
Amazing.
They're the 6th seed. Who, by the way, if the playoffs started today, they would play the Knicks, and the Knicks are only 1-2 against them this year. Just saying.
I
But-
texted that in the group on our group chat.
But chemistry and things can change. Like, I think, the Warriors are 6-1 with Jimmy Butler. I am not saying he's not a can. Like, he is like the worst teammate ever. Like, eventually, like, something clicks in his head and he's like, I want out, and literally burns the city down. He's done it to like 6 or 7 places. It's ridiculous.
Mhm.
It's
But
like Aaron
while
Rodgers.
Yeah, but while he's well, that's for another
God.
podcast, because guess who
Yeah.
he made it. Guess who he made a call to.
I heard he reached out to the Giants.
Yeah, he
Yes,
did.
we're not
I
going
was
that
like,
route.
I
We're not going that
cannot-
route.
I cannot support that
We're
anymore.
not doing that.
Wait a
I
minute.
mean,
He called them?
He
Yes.
called them.
He called the Giants and was like, hey, what do you think
Who
about
would have
this?
thought?
And then he's going to try and drag Devontae there too.
I heard that.
But no, we'll get back to reality.
Yo, that would be
The
a
chemistry,
move
I think,
for
is
you
a big.
guys.
Thank you. Stop.
Don't
This
get
is
him
the
started,
basketball
Tony.
pod.
Don't get him
Yeah.
started.
I'm not
Yeah,
taking
move,
the bait.
dude.
Come on. Knicks are
This,
winning.
But
We're up big ahead.
it's about chemistry, and that's actually why it's weird. Why I agree with Stephen A. Smith recently that the Knicks are pretenders and not contenders. And I can't believe we were able to segue into something about the Knicks when I was just talking about chemistry and the Pistons all of a sudden. But I like how I put the pieces together to get there. But yeah, you are 0-7 against the top 3 teams in the NBA. You've got
I'm
2 more
very
against
aware.
Cleveland, and you've got 1 more against the Celtics. You're probably going to go
way
0
more
for
than
10.
one more. We got way more than one more because when we play them in the playoffs and we're fully loaded and everybody's in our rotation.
We hear this in every podcast for every team you represent.
Dude, this is the way it has to. Everybody was even saying it tonight pregame. That's the way it is with us. Everybody knows it.
And
Patty's
Greg was
right.
saying the same thing about the Sixers. I'm not worried about anything. When we get to the
Yeah,
playoffs,
well,
it'll work out.
Well,
There's
you know that ain't
0
happening.
chance
But we are
you're
going
making
to
the playoffs.
Totally,
You are
different.
going to the playoffs. You're just going to ruin your pick.
We're not dropping below 3. We're not dropping. There's nobody. The team with the most threat is probably
games
Detroit.
up of the Pacers right now, and then the Pacers, Bucks, and Pistons
right.
are like deadlocked right now.
I think the biggest threat there is by far the Pistons. By far. That's a shout out to my nephew, Corey. I mean, he loves them, man. He's been a diehard. They sucked every single year.
They
and
got some
he
young
is
talent.
Fired up.
Cade Cunningham is going to be a star in the league.
And
He
that's,
just needs
and
to
that's
get
what I
on
was
the
talking
court.
about with the chemistry. If you look at the chemistry, like they haven't changed a whole lot except for their coach, but it's the same players as they had last year for the most part. Same thing with Cleveland. I mean, 2 years ago, for the most part, they had almost this exact same core of these guys.
It's a building block every year. Every year you get a little bit, you grow a little bit. Like even
especially with younger guys like Detroit has.
But the thing is that the point I was trying to make earlier is like with the Suns, there's nothing they can do. They have to figure it out. They've got amazing players and they just don't work together for whatever reason. So it's very possible. I mean, Detroit made this again. They are younger and more moldable, I guess you could say. But the Suns could be a formidable team this time next year. The same kind of turnaround as the Pistons. They probably won't because they're old and stubborn. Everybody wants the ball, and everyone's talking about how they're going to break up the team. No one's ever talked about that with the Pistons because there hasn't been expectations in a decade. But, I mean, they're going to ride that, and, I mean, that's the best thing about the young teams is when they get hot, they just keep riding it. They just keep riding it.
I feel like in the NBA, almost anybody can beat anybody any given night just because of the talent.
Very true.
And the way the streaks go.
I think it's similar to baseball. You've got enough
runs.
There's enough games where it doesn't matter who the matchup is. I mean, I think I saw, who was it? I can't remember who it was, but the Celtics lost to somebody earlier this year, and I would have bet the house. It was like a bad team that was losing, that was missing like their top two. I mean, they're not even stars; they'd be players, and they still won. It's
Well, I
ridiculous.
think the NBA's the season's so long that like the players shut like it's more the Celtics shut it down versus like the Wizards or whoever comes up and wins a game. Like there's so many games like they don't like definitely take off days in the NBA for sure. Like mental off
They
days.
take
You
too much off, and not just days off. They take sessions off, like the
if
All
you're
Star. I would like to, for my appearance today, I would like to rant about the All Star game,
go
which is
for
one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life.
it.
It's awful.
We
Like
need Paul Douglas's
it's
take on
worse
this.
than flag football, NFL, Pro Bowl. It's awful. It's actually embarrassing. It's stupid to even do it. Like, it's not even fun to watch. I didn't watch any of it. Carmine, my son, doesn't even like. He wanted to watch and was like, he liked the flag football because he used to play flag football, things like that. But the basketball was just awful. What they did with hockey was unbelievable. And they scrapped the whole All Star thing, put all these guys and pinned them against each other. And you didn't have to pay them a penny. All you had to do was put them against each other, divide them up by countries, and shuffle up the games, play a couple of round robins, make this a week-long thing. And it was the most badass thing I've ever seen in my life. The ratings on it, the players were nuts. They were killing each other, killing each other. It was unbelievable, and I would love to see that. And hopefully that encourages some of these fools that are like, I don't want this goofy white kid to win another dunk contest. We'll do something about it, you ass. We should see John Morant and Anthony Edwards in there. There's no excuse. Absolutely no
You
excuse.
heard Karan said they were talking about it on Twitter and stuff
And
after
they can talk all they want. They ain't doing
Yeah.
nothing
They
because
talk
they're not
about
going
it
well,
to.
in
That's why I want to
March.
see
Wait till
they want
next
to
well,
see a
year.
maybe they'll
war.
watch the Clash of Conferences podcast and we
I
can
was
I
just
mean,
get
gonna
them on
say,
there.
Paul probably didn't see that. Paul, what do you think about this idea? Every player that's in the All-Star game competes in the dunk contest and maybe even the three-point contest too. And you got to go out there and just do one dunk. Whether you're the best dunker in the league or you can hardly dunk, you got to go out there and try to do one dunk. Every single All-Star, and
You
break
can
it
get a
down.
lot of
Like
bad
maybe you
dunks out
start
of it.
with 24 guys doing one dunk each, and then you break it down to the top 12, and then maybe you break it down to the top four, and you do it like that until you have
I
a
like
dunk
it.
champion, and it's got to be one of the all-stars that way.
the reason I don't like that is because when the dunk contest had Nate Robinson and Chris Anderson, it was the
Yeah,
worst thing I'd ever seen. Just keep watching them, like, miss dunks and all that.
that's
Like,
how
it
this
was
last one
just,
felt.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's Mac McClung's the one that saved it. His dunks were unbelievable, and he made it every time the first time. And he does, I mean, that's what he does. Like Zach Levine and Aaron Gordon, they didn't take 17 tries. They mystified you with something you've never seen and made it the first time. That's how it goes. All,
Excuse me,
like, I
guys.
think it was Kenny Smith and Shaq, and I think even Barkley. You miss the dunk the first time, and we know what you're doing. You automatically get taken down a peg, and that just doesn't happen
That's
with some of
true.
those guys. That doesn't
Yeah,
happen with some of those guys. Jason Richardson didn't miss. Aaron Gordon, Zach Levine, Mac McClung, they don't miss the dunks. The other thing, like, nobody cares. It was clear that people also are coming into this and are just thinking up things on the fly. That's not how this is. So I want it to be exciting. What I would do is do the same thing the NHL did. Break up teams. You got the U.S. versus the world. You got Africa. You got Europe. You could do Eastern Europe and Western Europe. There's your four right there. So, I mean, just do a round robin tournament and then you play. I mean, that
mm,
gold medal game was awesome. Like, I'm not even saying that we deserve to win, but it brought the best out of Curry. It brought the
oh,
best out of yeah,
the
breast.
what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
breast. The breast out of Durant as well. And they were playing like they've never played before. And they were passionate about it and they cared. And they had the fans and everybody was going nuts. You would have thought this was the Olympics with the NHL thing. And
Man,
they
he
got to
is
change
hype.
something.
We gotta get a hockey
They
podcast
gotta they
going.
gotta change it up. Adam Silver, he's got a good product, but you're losing it. A lot of
Man,
people are saying, I mean, they're starting to say that NHL is starting to be more popular than the NBA. They do put out potential, like, arguably a better product
hey,
on a regular basis.
I hear
Nobody
you.
sits out in hockey. They play with torn ACLs, they're busted up faces, shoulder injuries, everything you can think of. People almost get killed by freaking ice skates all the time. Like, it's
You
unbelievable.
you gotta get
This was
you
a
gotta
heck
you
of a
gotta get
hockey
back
rant.
out of that rich white neighborhood once in a while. Hockey is not taking over basketball.
It's not taking over
I
basketball.
know it's not, but it's right now it's putting out a better product, a better looking product.
Better, yeah.
Because you
Well,
watched
I mean,
one game.
but
No, no,
listen,
no, no, not
I hear
because
what
of
he's
that.
saying. I
No,
mean, I
because
can get.
hockey, there is no
What do
downtime
you
in
know
hockey
about the
ever.
hockey product? I know you don't watch hockey. I know you don't pay attention to
I
hockey.
love
What do you
this.
know about hockey?
He
They don't
knows
come
about
out of the game.
They had a
They don't
good
come
they
out of
had
the
a good
game.
Paul, you
Rumble the
gotta
all-star
other
watch.
day.
product.
Please tell me you watch
No,
hockey.
no, in any hockey game, no players come out of the game. They don't come out of the game for injuries.
They come out of the
Like,
game
like, like,
They
constantly.
do
They play for
shifts.
5 minutes
Two
and then
line
they sit
changes
for
They
every
10
have
minute.
minutes
shifts like
and then they
constantly
play for
throughout the
five
game, dude.
minutes. What do you mean they don't come out of the game? It's like five
come out of the
shifts.
game, but not for an injury. They don't. Not for injuries. They play through torn ACLs, everything.
Oh,
It's
they do. They
unbelievable.
go out.
I'm just, dude, it's a
You
tougher
better check
sport.
some IR lists. I don't think that's correct. You
Hey,
get
I mean,
really hurt in hockey and you can't play.
dude, you can play with a torn ACL. People play with a torn ACL, torn labrums, all that kind of stuff, and just fix it at the end of the season.
Who
They
played
don't even
hockey
fix.
with a torn ACL? Go look it up.
I
Lewis,
will.
like
That
Lewis.
that
I'm
one
gonna
is.
tell you like Lewis. Look it up. I don't think you can play hockey with a torn, not on a professional level. With a there might be one guy. You might find one guy, but that's not a regular thing.
He's looking it up. All right, back to basketball.
Fair
Back to
enough.
basketball. I don't know. I mean, who do you got, Tony? Who's hot?
I
Like
mean, can we
who
talk about?
scares
I mean,
you?
I got
Who's
plenty to talk about with this Bucks team. I haven't even gone over. First time we won
all
a
right.
game since we started this podcast this week.
Well,
Like,
what I'm saying is that's what I'm saying. Who scares you? What's going on? The Pistons are right on your tail. They're right
I mean,
there.
so right.
Sixers
If
are
we're in this 4, 5, 6 range, I think I want a rematch with the Pacers. I think the Pacers are a little less hot. They got the same team they got last year, but they don't scare me as much as they do last year. And I think the Bucks are healthier this year. I don't like. I don't want to drop to the 6th seed and play the Knicks. I was gonna get on you for the 0-7 for the Knicks versus the top teams, and then I looked. The
He
Bucks are
found the one
0-9
guy.
versus the top team.
He did.
You only needed one.
The Bucks are what? 0-9.
We're 0-9 versus the
Yeah,
Celtics, the Cavs, and the Knicks this year. So, I mean, I can't even talk in that department. Like, that's what we're doing. We're doing the same thing as the Knicks. We're beating up on the bad teams, but we've been in that West road trip that we finally got out of, and now we so far have
it
won
was,
4 out of our last 5 games. So we're playing hot right now. Giannis is a beast. He's averaging 33 points, 12
Giannis
rebounds
is
a
a
game.
beast.
he's
He is
nasty. I get
insane.
what you're Mike. He's a superstar. He's sick.
And
It floors me
also
how
the thing
he's
I liked
not
about the
MVP every year.
what?
I can't believe it, to be honest. I can't believe that Giannis is not MVP every
We
year.
keep
Well, they don't
losing you
like
there,
repeating
Tony. I
them,
don't know.
and Joe. I mean, it's basically been him, Jokic, and Embiid every year the past 3 years, but now SGA is kind of creeping in. So I think it's going to be between SGA, Jokic, and
He's
Giannis
nasty
this
too.
year. Yeah, but I want to say this about the Bucks too because they deserve this point. The Bucks have been terrible at the end of games when they are down, and they've been terrible in clutch situation games. They're some of the worst in the NBA. Out of 4 of those 5 wins, all 4 were comeback wins. We were down in the fourth quarter. We came back and won every one of those games, so I like it. Kuzma's playing in the fourth quarter, and we got Joey Porter Jr. At the trade deadline, he's been a beast this year. He's a young player. I like him, and he's been in the rotation. Last thing, Bobby Portis,
Wait
my
a minute.
guy.
You
Did you
got
guys
who?
hear about Bobby Portis this week? Suspended 25 games
Yeah,
for
got too
PEDs.
close. Got too
Did
close
not
to.
need that
Got too
at this
close to
point of
some
the year.
bad spray.
So that I mean, they give it and they take it from me every week. So, but hopefully he'll be healthy coming back for the playoffs.
He is healthy. He just got to stop taking performance enhancing drugs.
Yeah.
Well, they're
The
painkillers.
story
He's
on it.
taking
I don't even know why they
painkillers
ever
to heal.
bother responding. I don't know
What?
why they ever bother responding when they get caught with stuff, but they always do.
Yeah,
And it's
it's
just like
always a
this.
dumb answer too. You're
Like this
right.
was like something like it was the nutritionist was taking some
Yeah.
spray themselves, and he got in contact with some spray that did this that had some crazy banned substance in it. I'm like, nope, don't matter. Nobody believes you. It doesn't matter.
I mean,
But here's the
he's
thing.
not even
Here's
trying
the
to. If
thing,
you're not
Tony.
going to appeal it, like then there's like, yeah, they're not even trying to appeal it or nothing. So obviously that's a fake
Yeah, but
story.
if you appeal it, don't that delay the whole thing? Couldn't he get suspended at the wrong time? Wouldn't it better just to get it out of the way? You only got how many games is it going to be?
25 games,
25.
but he'll be coming
Well,
back
yeah. Then
right
you
at the
want
end of
him
the
back for the
season.
playoffs.
Yeah, we'll get him back for the
Yeah.
playoff.
So here's something though, and I know you're a fan of your team, but you're also a lot like Randy. I'm pretty sure that you called Kevin Porter Jr. Joey Porter Jr.
I
Yeah,
did
he
who,
call him
did.
that. Good
yeah.
call. Good
So,
call. Good call.
You did.
but here,
I'm
like the
careful with
dig
names,
I
Paul. All
really
right,
wanted to make
shoot me in the face. The guy's been out of the team
the
for 2 weeks. All right, like give me a break.
well, don't give me a gun, Tony. Don't give me a
Yeah,
gun.
not everybody knows all their players like me.
Don't give me. I mean, I'll bring a Nerf gun to March Madness and I'll shoot you right in the face. But so
Dang.
here's the thing: you could put together a super team and you're not going to win. And the reason why is because Doc Rivers will not let you. He will not let you win no matter what. He's not going to win anything significant. I understand
Why
the
do you guys think
the
Doc Rivers
coaching
is like?
change.
What does Doc Rivers do in a game that
We did
affects the game drastically that they're going to lose a 7 game
we did
series?
this to you last year, but
Well, what was Adrian Griffin doing last year that was so bad? Besides
No,
winning, 38-13,
yeah, but
and
they
they
weren't.
yeah,
they
They
yeah. Why
canned
the
him
didn't
for
they
players
Doc
do
didn't
it?
want to
Rivers,
play for him.
who had failed recently and a couple places, failed miserably in a couple places recently.
Okay, are you guys kidding? Doc Rivers gets so much slander. Did the Sixers when they
Tony, I think
lost
Doc
that
Rivers is
series?
good.
They scored like 70 points a game. What, like they blew it. Like the players didn't show. The Clippers all got hurt. Like Chris Paul got hurt, and they blew those series. Like
Yeah.
it's never his fault. Like what is he supposed to do? Like put different rotations in? I get that, but like the
Sounds like
players are the
me
ones
sticking
who
up
play
for
on the
It's
Daniel
court.
funny. I
Jones.
was like, it feels like there's this one guy that roots for this New York team, and there's this one guy that had that one half where he played good, and then now he's been a superstar for 5 years, and you can just say, well, all these excuses. It's not his fault because it wasn't a perfect scenario and everybody stayed healthy.
Yeah, but I
And we're
Yeah, I
not
mean
mean,
you
going to talk
got
about that name.
I mean, I get you're gonna like the coach gets some blame, but I don't know why you guys are like he's the reason he's gonna lose the series. Like if you lose in five
to.
games,
Well, I'm just
like
saying
it
he's going to
ain't the
prevent you. The players aren't helping, but he's going to solidify the fact that you will not win anything.
we'll see. I
And if we
mean,
want to prove it, somehow get him on the Hornets and see if we can turn around the Hornets for like a 10 game, a 10
Yeah, but
game turnaround
team,
year over year.
team gotta have the talent. You gotta have the talent. I mean, he got the talent there, but regardless, do you really see the Bucks going to the championship? I
I
mean, do
mean,
you really
I
see him going
listen.
to the championship with that roster?
Oh,
I'm
we gotta get
listening.
out of the first round, Topher. I want to get out of the first round before I'm talking championship. Yes,
All right,
I want to
yeah.
go on a run with this team. You guys were talking about continuality with the team. Like Brooks Lopez has been on since the championship team. We got Giannis since the
There's no
championship
S in
team.
his name.
James Brooke Lopez. That's his
You
name.
said Brooks, or is that just your natural Tony P in there that you
Oh my
added in
god.
there,
Okay. All right.
your
Well, I'm not
dialect?
naming names anymore. We got players who've been on the team for a while, and I want to see them win. And if they listen, if they get
Quarterback.
knocked
Yeah,
out in
it
the
don't
first
get
round,
you
Hey,
they're
anywhere
gonna break
anyway.
it
They
up.
just make fun of you.
I gotta ask about the Kevin Porter thing. Isn't he the guy that got caught gambling with the Raptors?
Yeah.
no, that's
No,
Michael
he was on the
Porter's brother,
Rockets.
Jonte Porter.
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
Yeah,
all right.
Kevin Porter's a good player. Kevin Porter
Yeah,
Jr.
he
is a
was
good
on the
player.
Rockets.
Good
No,
call.
it's
And he's young. He's
Jonte
like
Porter
20.
from the Raptors.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
got banned from the league, right? That's who I thought
Yeah,
we were
and
talking about
sucked.
there earlier.
Andy sucked for the. Yeah, like he was betting on himself to be like, I'm really going to suck tonight, and he had to just go out and just play normal to be like, look, I told you I could do it. Just
Mhm.
like the kids that just got busted from the University of New Orleans. They're like 4 or 5 and like 26, and they're all betting. Like 4 of their players got just kicked off the team for betting. It
Wow,
wasn't for good play, I can tell you that.
They were betting
that's
unders on
crazy.
themselves.
I don't know if it was themselves, but at least on the games,
Wow.
Okay,
their own games.
that's crazy. Well, let's take a quick break. We'll be back soon. We'll get into the second half. But before we do, I just want to defend the NBA. They're definitely better than hockey just because Paul pulled out one guy from 8 years ago that played on a torn ACL for a couple of games. That does not mean that hockey
That
players don't
everybody
take
does it.
breaks.
There was no defense necessary. I do not think that the NBA is not a better league than the NHL. I'm just saying, but like the quality of the product they're putting out, excitement and all their stars,
Dude,
they don't
once
do
the
I
load
get
playoffs
it.
start,
management.
I
I
think
get
I
it.
think
It's
Patty
just
said it
fun
the
to
other
give you a
night
hard
though.
time.
No
I
hand
think
check. I mean, dude, you put hockey up against the early, like the late 80s, early 90s basketball, nothing, nothing compares to that.
Listen, I'll say this about hockey. Last year, the NBA Finals was a dud. They won 7 games in the finals last year. Connor McDavid was in the Stanley Cup, and they were down 3-0. Came all the way back 7 games. So I mean,
I think I'm gonna
And
hockey
start
then
watching
playoffs
the
is
and then
just as
WNBA. I think I'm
exciting.
gonna start watching the WNBA. I think I can get into that. I'd rather
I can
watch
see
Hey,
you
that than
playing on
hockey.
the Unrivaled tournament.
That's definitely the dumb shit. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening. Just a few quick reminders for everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Michael Jordan is the GOAT. And check out our fellow podcaster, Jim Montgomery, with This Day in Philly Sports History. Thank you.
Welcome back, everybody, to the second half of the basketball podcast, Clashing Conferences Network. We got Ben joining us for the second half. He's a big Celtics fan, and it's nice to have you here since our normal Celtics fan, Matt, wasn't able to make it. We got a couple guests here, and Ben, meet Paul for the first time. Paul listed as, I don't know if we're allowed to say that, but um, listed as something for Topher. I don't think the audience
Yeah.
sees the names, do they?
No.
no,
Okay,
I
all
see
right,
it.
probably
No,
better.
I see it now.
But it's the first time we've had Ben and Paul on the same podcast. So, getting into
You
the second
almost read
half,
it.
Chris was saying, "What are we going to talk about?" And I got something now that Ben's here. I saw Brian Windhorst, I guess you pronounce it, who I respect greatly as a NBA reporter. He was talking big, making a very convincing argument earlier that the Knicks long term were set up better than both the Celtics and the Cavs because of the way some of the contracts are put together and, not having to deal with those aprons and all that stuff. What do you guys think about that?
That's Rose, man. He's the man. That's all. That's all I know about it. I don't follow that stuff like you do, but I know since he got West in there, they call him the Worldwide West. Them two just been making moves, and that's just their. It's kind of like the Howie effect,
Howie
man.
Roseman.
Yeah, they just they're good with the money. They know how to swing. That's why I wasn't worried when we traded for Bridges. So like if they have to flip it or they got to do something with it later, I have all the confidence in the world.
Yeah, but you can't do
All the
stuff like
confidence in the world.
they don't do the same kind of restructuring with the deferring the money, and you definitely can't just put 50 million into a signing bonus either, like you can in the NFL. So I
It's
think it's
definitely
harder to.
different with all the guaranteed contracts, but I don't know. Like, remember how we're doing all the hypotheticals, and I'm like, yeah, you can give Bridges for LeBron because, like, look, we gave up all that stuff for Bridges. Just imagine if they do go after Giannis in the offseason. Like, I don't know. I think they can make it work. I think they got pieces. I think they can make moves. I don't know if they're better
Giannis is
shape
like
than
the
Boston. I
highest
mean, they're
paid
not.
player in the NBA. Don't forget that too. He's definitely up there in contract salary. So
What's he make this year?
50 million.
Joel's getting 51.
Well, I'm saying he's up there. He's in the top. Yeah, he's at the
What doesn't
Superman.
matter what anybody makes. Everyone is going to want the next contract to outpace that person. So it's short-lived whenever a big deal like this happens because it's like, oh, why am I not getting 50 mil like Giannis? So I'm going to get 51 and then it's 52.
Mm.
These days, people are just resetting the market with every deal, thinking they're the Babe Ruth, they're the greatest of all time, the Michael Jordan these days, so they should be paid like it.
Jamar Chase, he's about to be the highest paid non-quarterback in the history of the NFL.
It's crazy. It seems like
Well,
he's
yeah,
right.
it's okay in some cases when it's like, I mean, did he win the Triple Crown this year for receivers? Yards, catches, and touchdowns?
I don't think he got the Triple Crown. I think the last person to do that was Cup, but I mean, he was
Yeah.
close. His numbers were
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
I had him on a couple teams. It was pretty awesome to witness. He was awesome. But yeah, as far as the salary cap goes, it's important to have smart guys in the front office, people that know what they're doing. The NBA salary cap, like you deserve a medal for even like navigating that thing. Give him the Nobel Peace Prize, give him the gold medal, but it's amazing how complicated and how many like different things about this salary cap. Like I don't understand it myself. But
So does that mean
what
the Sixers
I
get
don't
a
even
All
dunce
the
try.
cap?
Celtics do
Well,
is
the
just pay
Celtics
everybody.
certainly were. I
well,
was just going to say that, Tony. The
They
Celtics were
just pay
certainly able to
everybody.
give
What do you
out a
mean it's
lot
hard?
of
All you
money
gotta
the
do is say,
past
"What do you want?"
2 years.
Here you go.
They got
yeah,
2.5. I mean, they got two maxes, and I mean, if White were up right now for a contract, I can't imagine what they would actually give him right
Didn't they
now.
just pay him?
They
Did they?
just
they
I,
paid
paid
I
him
don't.
they
last year.
they paid everybody.
Yeah, they
Yeah, they
paid him
paid
Yeah.
last. They just
everybody.
re-upped him last year
Like
to a giant number.
yeah,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
re-upped him, Holiday, Sam Hauser in the offseason, literally brought back the whole band.
It's crazy.
So this is our window. This is the Celtics window to go on back-to-back, three-peat, quad-peat. What's
Come
after
on,
quad?
man.
Quad Pete.
Quint
Quint-peat.
Quint Pete.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the time.
How
Well,
about
You
the
everyone's
better.
Knicks?
healthy,
How
under
about
You
how
better
contract.
about the
hurry up
Knicks?
and
How about the Knicks
coin
just
that
win
and
one for
trademark
Topher
that.
Pete,
Phil
man?
Jackson
I just need
three
one.
Pete. Or
As we're getting smoked by Detroit tonight by 17.
I
They're
dude,
down
I think it's funny.
17.
Wow, 17.
My
Yeah.
nephew is probably going off. He's a diehard Pistons fan. I love giving him a shout out because he listens every week. Corey listens, man. He said they're coming for the Bucks. They're moving up the standings. I just mentioned that they might beat us in the playoffs.
I've
by
been
the
hearing about
way,
the Pistons more this last week. I'm starting to pay attention. They're starting to turn it
They're
around. Huge turnaround from last year.
huge turnaround.
Yeah.
They're fun. They're fun to watch.
Topher, if I
What's up
have
with
to
the
play in the
Blazers,
first
Paul?
round, oh my god.
uh,
That's a good
I'm
call. We
telling
haven't
you,
gotten
dude.
into the Blazers yet.
Yeah, what's
Yeah,
going
I
on? They
mean,
had a nice win streak going, but then what's
yeah,
going on tonight?
I mean, they're looking good. I mean, the last 2 years they're talking about how are we going to blow this whole thing up? How are we going to blow this thing up? Ever since Lillard got traded, and I think there's still kind of plans to do it. But every year they pay one extra person, like something stupid, like Jeremy Grant or whatever, or trade for DeAndre Ayton, dumb. But I hate everything about UConn, but I love, and I was like screaming, yelling joyfully when when Donovan Clingan fell to them last year. I think he's a legitimate five in the NBA. In today's NBA, he's a five, I believe. And the five is not necessarily your most dominant player. There's only a couple of them, like Anthony Davis and a couple other ones. And I don't even think he even wants to play five. Nobody wants the five. Like,
Yeah,
I
he
don't know what
wants
it is. Like
that's
nobody wants the five. Everybody wants to be a four and a stretch four because your five is
Yeah,
supposed
they
to be
want to
down
shoot
there.
threes.
But everybody wants to shoot threes. Yeah, everybody wants to shoot threes. So like your four is hovering around the 3-point line just like everybody else. So
yep.
him being a true five, I really like that. Um, Scoot Henderson is playing not necessarily like a number two pick, but he's playing better than he was. He was looking like a huge bust. And trust me, I know a lot about some Blazer busts. I'm wearing the number one Blazer bust right here. Greg
Sam
Oden.
Bowie? Oh, Greg Oden.
No,
I was gonna
Greg
say
Oden.
Okay,
And
good.
this jersey still has the tags on it. I have never been able to wear it in public. Still got tags hanging on it.
I would have
Uh,
taken Greg Oden that year as well.
over
I
Kevin Durant.
I would have. But according to Danny Ainge, if he was in the spot, he said he would have taken Durant. I don't
It's
know
hard.
if I believe that.
It's hard to when you go. I mean, when they go to the combine, and he looks like Captain America before the transition, like he looks like Steve Rogers before he was Steve Rogers. It's ridiculous. You can't put can't put up 250 pounds on the bench. They're like, well,
Yeah.
that's not going to work in the NBA. It's not an NBA body, no matter how well you can shoot and how well you can move. Well,
Yeah.
he's also
He-
6'13", refuses to be called 7 feet. Is the most versatile thing I've ever seen in the world.
yeah, he's been incredible.
I mean, I would love, and this would kind of lead into the next thing. I'd love for us to be in the capture the flag sweepstakes, but I think we just added a new member to that this week with Wemby being out for the season. The best thing they can do is, well, turn into a New York team and kind of just pack it in for the rest of the season.
I haven't
But
paid much attention to the Spurs. Are they that far down in the standings that they could fall that far?
they could. I mean, well, here's the thing. Right now, they have like an 8% chance, and the way that they got some of these picks before, they were already saying like,
Man, can you
they've
imagine?
gotten the upset ball before. So they only need to fall like 3 or 4 more spots before it's like a 20% chance, like with everybody else almost.
Yeah, but
I'm
those
just
other
thinking.
teams at the bottom aren't winning games, man.
No, the Hornets and the Wizards aren't doing anything. I think there's one other one too that's not doing
The
anything. I
Hornets
can't
are like
remember who.
fourth or fifth from, I think. We're not even in the top three right now for Flag, if I remember right.
And here's the thing, and I don't know why he had an opinion either, but Paul George was talking about it. He was like, I would take Ace Bailey over Cooper Flagg all day long, and I would too.
Yeah,
I would
you're
too.
crazy.
I'm taking Ace
You're
Bailey.
Yeah.
crazy. He can't even win. He can't even
Paul
win.
George
They
is
got two
washed.
guys at Rutgers that are supposed to be top 3 draft picks in the NBA next year, and they can't even win games. You want that guy on your team? You're crazy. Give me a winner.
I
The
love
guy
it.
who's playing in the NBA and can sell tickets
Can
too.
you
Like,
not respect the bias? Respect the bias.
What bias?
This bias, the Carolina Shrine. I'm not rooting for Cooper Flagg. I'm rooting for both
Fair
ACLs to
enough. All right.
come flying out of his leg.
I
Yeah, he just
honestly,
hates
I
him.
mean, I've said it a couple of times across a couple of different podcasts. I think Cooper Flagg is the next big thing. I think he is LeBron. I think he is like that big of a prospect that we
Hmm.
only see once every 10 years or so.
Who does Adam Silver want for him to go? What ping pong ball does he actually want to just say he pulled?
Freeze the
Because you don't want.
envelope, Chris.
Mike,
Yeah.
you've got the fourth best
I
odds.
thought we were
There's
fourth or
only
fifth.
you've got no
Stay in Carolina.
yeah, you're tied at
Yeah.
fourth. Yeah, you could. Tied for tied for third. Sorry, tied for the third worst odds.
And who else is up
Just
there?
Bulls, Wizards, right?
Washington,
The Nets.
Silver.
the Pelicans. No, not the
Damn,
Nets.
really?
Nets are on the 11th seed.
Oh, shit.
So he's not going to a big market team no matter where he goes. He's going to about the lowest market teams that there are in the NBA, which is going to be interesting. So let's just ship him down to. I hope he goes to the Pelicans. Go right there, and just bury him down there, just like Zion was. I wouldn't pair him with him.
They'd probably move Zion in that case.
The Pelicans are my
Yep.
least favorite team
They're always
after they
talking
tried
about
to
moving
steal.
him.
No, not tried. They stole my franchise out of Charlotte. The Pelicans owner, I don't know if it's still the same owner that was in Charlotte or not previously, but when he pulled that team out of Charlotte, that city was one of the best fan bases that you could have for the first 10 or 20 years of their franchise existence. They sold out every single game. The fans were dedicated to that team. They always showed up. And then that owner just was like, F you. And it was like a year before they left or a year and a half. And for the next, like, however many partial seasons that it was, that whole stadium was empty. It was crazy. It was crazy how full it always was to go on from the fans were like, you're screwing us and we're not supporting you no more. And then he stole our team. He took them. They kept them as the Hornets. That was awful.
New
I
Orleans
hate that guy
Hornets.
in New
Yeah.
Orleans.
Back in the 90s, if you didn't have an NBA team, you rooted for the Hornets. I got I got a Hornets starter jacket. I had
Yep.
Yeah.
I have the Hornets.
Classic jersey.
When I went to college, I had a Hornets trash can, one of those metal trash cans you
Nice.
could get from like Foot Locker and stuff. That was the one that
Yeah.
JT Sellers and I had for a couple of years. It was nasty, nasty. But yeah, I think the capture the flag sweepstakes is going to be interesting, but I don't think the NBA can do anything about getting him into a big time market unless somebody makes some ridiculous trade somehow.
Well,
MJ
I
still
mean, I
the
could see
Hornets
him going
owner?
to Chicago. Like, they like to
No.
revive big
No,
teams like that. Why not? Why just no?
I mean, well, somebody was
He's
you're
not
going to have
going to
to
go to
trade
the
like a
Wizards.
Giannis to
He's
get
not going to go to
like that pick.
He's going to go to like a big
Yeah.
time program to revive someone.
And nobody's going to do the trade either. This ain't going to be like a Kobe thing, getting traded on draft day or nothing. Like it's.
So what
I
teams
mean,
are in the middle of the league so Silver can create a ping pong miracle?
That's why I think it's the
Bulls.
Bulls.
Revive the process. Revive the process.
Bulls
There's a
or the
lot of people, a lot of
Sixers.
Sixers fans on this Clash and Conferences network that are hoping for that, Paul.
Man, that would be awful.
And that would be awesome. I would love for that. Just even more reason to just crap on them. That would be terrible. He's
What
going
if
to
they got
crumble,
him?
and he's going to crumble in a big market. Crumble.
Trust the process. Trade Embiid to whoever has the number 1 pick.
There is nobody taking
There's
that contract.
nobody going after
No
him.
one.
Build around Maxey. Paul George is washed. Build your team around Maxey and Cooper Flagg.
Every first round draft pick that you possibly have to be available to trade to Embiid, and you still wouldn't be able to trade Embiid.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to match. You wouldn't be able to
I
match
don't
the
know.
I said this all
salary.
last year on the podcast. Remember, I hate him. Build around Maxey. I think I said it every week. I love it. I just sit there and just love hearing everybody else say it now. I love watching
Maxey
the
was the real
Sixers
deal.
suck and crumble. I love it. They're like the worst franchise in the NBA right now. They're awful.
They are. They're as far
They're
as
terrible.
current playing and actual real time, that they're one of the
And the
bottom
Giants are going to
feeders.
turn it around, so Greg
I was
won't be
about
able
to
to say
say
that to me
they
next
are
year.
the New York Giants
Hey,
of the
and we're
NBA.
going to
All
turn
you
it around
do
next.
is just
We're gonna-
make the wrong move every time.
We'll be relevant next year. We'll be relevant next
And
year.
then you double down on your wrong move and make it worse
No,
by
they're going to be relevant.
throwing 160 million at it.
They're going to be relevant next year. All they got to do is just go get Matt Stafford. Just do that. Don't mess
You
it
understand that the Rams' number one priority is to bring Matt Stafford back, by the way.
up. I've been reading a lot of things, and there's a great chance we're one of the best. Like he would come there, they could make it work. That's like one of their number one priorities. We're not talking football on here.
Look, I think the Rams are one Matt Stafford away from being relative, so I think they should probably stick with him.
Fair.
Young defense, good offense, stud.
We have a very young team.
Number
I need
one.
to be relevant for this podcast. I need it.
We're gonna have to kick Paul off. He keeps talking about hockey and football and everything but
Paul, I
basketball.
want to ask you
We
this
brought you
because
here
I
to
got
do.
a Portland
NASCAR?
fan up.
A little NASCAR.
Paul's a
What'd you
sports
say?
junkie. I love it.
Paul, one of my favorite teams growing up was Portland back in the day when they had Damon Stoudemire, Scottie Pippen, Rasheed Wallace, and Steve Smith. That was like when I
Man, you're
first started
young.
watching basketball. Were you like a fan of Portland back in the day when they had all those gangsters on the team?
Yeah, my wife
Dude.
and I, my wife and I used to watch them play. Like I was devastated. Like when the Blazers ended was when they were up on Kobe and Shaq's Lakers with like 15, 18-point lead going into the fourth quarter and blew it. And then the Lakers, that's how the Lakers dynasty started with Kobe and Shaq. But no, I love that team. And Derek Anderson was on there. You had Brian Grant. You had young Jermaine O'Neal. You had so many people that were on there. It was almost like your sixth or seventh man would have been easily a starter on the other teams. They played well together. They looked awesome. Yeah, dude. I started watching the
was
Blazers
awesome.
with Rasheed Wallace.
Mm-hmm.
I started watching with Rasheed Wallace. He's my favorite player. So I just stuck. Like I didn't go to. I mean, I don't have I like the Pistons, and I have actually a Pistons Rasheed Wallace jersey up right there, the red one. But I followed him. I was a Bullets fan and then a Blazers fan and stuck with the Blazers.
When you started talking about the Blazers, Mike, that just shows our age, man, because I'm thinking Kevin Duckworth, Clyde Drexler, Porter.
Yeah,
I'm thinking those dudes.
Clyde the Glide.
Dude, the team that played against the Bulls in the 92 championship, that was a hell of a Portland Trail Blazers squad for years, like even leading up to that. Like you've seen that coming. I love them days, man. I love the late 80s, early 90s basketball. It's my favorite.
Wish the NBA could get back to that.
Someday, man. I hope.
Well, that's
No
not going
way,
to
it's
happen
going
because
way
there's
away
too much
from
load
that,
management and there's
Yeah.
hand
I know.
checking
I know.
fouls and all that.
Yeah, they're soft, is what you're saying.
Yes.
They're all soft.
Just
all
watch the
soft
All-Star
little
game.
babies.
Soft and there's no pride. They don't take pride in anything that they're doing.
That's why I don't know how y'all can't respect my Knicks. My boys go out every single night and they all want to play 48
Hey, I
minutes.
just turned around. They're
Because of
down
the
to
head
single
coach.
digits against the Sixers. You better pick it up.
Yeah, I know. It makes me mad. Like the way
Man,
it
So
makes
it's
me
almost
mad.
like they're not
scares
playing
tonight.
tonight. It's weird.
It makes me mad. Like, I mean, this weekend took a lot out of me. I mean, I know it. I said it all year. They got to have everybody. That's just they're not there yet. Patty hit the nail right on the head. They're a very good team. They're just not one of the elite. But I can
They're a
hope.
three
I want to
seed.
play the elite.
You can.
That's how you
There
get. That's how
sometimes,
you
Chris,
get there.
sometimes very good teams win championships when everything
I
goes your
know.
way. So
That's and like you turn on like we didn't talk about the Lakers at all. Now
Detroit
they're talking.
Pistons.
Now they're
And
talking about the Lakers' big three. They're talking about the Lakers' big three with Reeves, and they could end up taking over the number 2 spot. And I'm like, man, we have a better record than the Lakers. It's
yeah, but the
just
Lakers are different now. I
they
mean,
are
they're
different
definitely
now. They are
different.
different
I
now.
don't know if they're better or not, but they're definitely different.
They're
Celtics
different.
Lakers.
I think they'll fall apart in the playoffs. It's like the whole center thing and going again. They always lose to Denver. They always lose to Jokic. I just don't. I don't know.
I mean,
I don't have faith in
wasn't
they
that
LeBron.
your
whooped up
case
on them
that the
over the
Knicks fell
weekend,
apart
but
last year?
Well, I mean, the Knicks did. They did, and like, but we were talking about true centers. I just feel like once we get our center and get everybody back, we're different. You've seen our bench, like
You are
the
hanging your
highlight
hopes
of the
up to a
Boston Celtics.
solid role player right now.
Listen, he's a starting center. The part the part I did like about the Celtics game, they did show a ton of heart in the second half.
well, how's
Like
your
they
O
didn't
line
show
doing? Is your O line healthy enough that
they
you can
didn't
say
show
that?
stop it. They didn't show any fight almost all year against any of them teams, even Friday night against Cleveland. But I'll say late second and the rest of the game again. The problem is we can't be getting down. We get down by 18 points. You can't come back against these top teams. We do it all the time. We get down to teams like I'm surprised the Sixers weren't beating us tonight. We start a lot of games off slow, man. They don't
Well, let's
have
just say that's now a 6-point lead, and they had to call a timeout to regroup.
it's
So
it's
let's just give it
typical,
a couple
man.
minutes.
Silver's gonna
It's
lose the
stupid,
lead
and that's
by
what
the
makes
end
me
of this
mad.
podcast.
The freaking Bulls blow them out, and like they got rid of everybody, and we're out here struggling against the Sixers. It just doesn't make sense.
It's almost like your guys didn't show up to play and try tonight. Pretty sure you
Like
just said 2 minutes ago that
like
all
the
they do
Celtics.
is they always show up and they always, come to play, except for when they don't in a real life, real time situation.
I mean, they don't sit out usually. They
God.
don't. They usually play all. I mean, they don't. They're not like the modern NBA when guys are sitting every night. The Knicks don't do that. Corey's texting me now. We better not lose this game. That's because you all just went to the Bulls game and you guys blown them out.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, how was that? Did you guys have fun?
it was awesome. It was awesome. Me, Corey, Steven, and Steven's son went
Horrible
out to the
game.
Bulls Sixers game 2 nights ago, and we had a really good time. And those three are all Bulls fans. So, like,
That's
sometimes that's
awesome.
concerning going into Philadelphia as a fan of the other team. I'm rolling in there with three of these guys, and Corey's a
Yeah.
trash talker. So, I mean, like, Corey literally is like, when the Bulls started getting up, he started looking around our section for like other Bulls fans. He's like, I gotta find people to celebrate with. He finds this guy like 3 rows behind us, and they're like literally like reaching over other fans, like trying to high five each other. I'm like,
Oh boy.
y'all are gonna get punched, man. Like this ain't.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, man. The Sixer fans, it's
You
different.
got
They're not like the Eagles. I
No,
mean, it's
they
the
were
same
awesome,
people, but it's
Chris. They were awesome. The Sixers fans.
yeah, it's different.
There was this security
suck.
guard, and we all tried to move down at one point towards the end of the game. We were really close to begin with, but we tried to basically like get courtside
Right.
towards the end of the game as things were like,
yeah.
unfolding out. And this lady starts yelling at Corey initially. Corey sweet talks her, gets the seats, and for the whole fourth quarter, we see other Sixers fans coming down, and she's like, you can't come in here, show me your tickets, and like she was like getting all demonstrative about it. She was hilarious, and like,
But she let Corey
yeah,
in.
but she let all of us in, and like,
I
but
love it.
like only because Corey was like, come on, man, we're Bulls fans. Like she was like, we're Sixers fans, you better get out of here, Bulls fans. And then Corey, he starts talking trash and having fun, and she's like, all right, you guys are cool, man, come on in.
Wow, that's a great story.
It was
That's awesome.
That's Corey, man. How about the end? And what about the highlight at the end when they were leaving?
So we're leaving, and some little girl runs up to Corey. He's wearing a Bulls jersey. I don't know who she thought he was, but she
Are you
runs up to
Michael
him so
Jordan?
excited, tries to get his autograph. She has, I don't know what she had in her hand, but she had something and a pen, and she wanted him to sign it. And the next thing you know, I don't know, 15 other kids think something's going on. and there's
I
a
love it.
swarm of kids like running up around Corey, like cheering and jumping up and down. And like me and Steven and Steven's son are over there like, yo, what is happening? Steven tried to get his phone out and record it and got a little bit too late, but it was hilarious.
Wow.
That sounds like some dumb shit.
It was some dumb shit. So
It's awesome. He said he signed a bag of potato chips.
okay. I didn't know what he was signing.
I
but
love it.
She had something. She had her pen. She's like, "Can you sign this for me?" Oh my God.
I love it, man.
Did he even sign his name, or did he put something like, like
Who
Jimmy Butler or
knows with
something?
Corey, man.
That would have Michael Jordan. He might sign Michael Jordan.
All right, that's our show for tonight, guys. Appreciate Paul and Ben joining us here. We're a little light on people. We will be back next week, and we're getting closer to playoffs for Chris and Tony here. Going to get exciting as we move forward. We got a lot going on.
Every day's playoffs right now. On my team.
I'm excited, man. Ben, thanks for getting on. Paul, it was great seeing you, man.
You too, man.
It's awesome.
Playoffs for what? You guys in fantasy?
Playoffs for basketball. We're coming for you, bro.
It's not even March yet. It's in April. Come on.
Half a game up, half a game down.
We still got like a quarter of the season to go.
Still the dog days for you, huh? Yeah, we're still trying to get this thing right, man.
Sorry.
Well,
So
maybe
just
if
waiting
you beat
for the
the
playoffs to
Pistons
start.
tonight, we can have another half a game.
I see that. You just got beat by the Pistons tonight.
You're right.
Yeah.
That's my fault. I was
beat by 20.
I was giving Kyle Hill a day or two ago about getting ready for NBA before March Madness. So Ben, you're on point there.
Yeah. Come on now. There's still a lot that could happen.
Hey, I thought he was I gave him credit on a dig. Like, it's fantasy. You guys have no chance. Celtics are going all the way. I thought he was going that route with it. Like, isn't that what you were doing? I thought that's what you were trying to say.
Well, that's not what I'm doing, but it's just how it is. Like, it doesn't need to be said or talked about.
That's what I said. We're coming for you, bro. We're coming. That's I said. That's what we're all looking for. To be the best, you got to beat the best, and you won a championship last year. So
right.
You haven't beat any of the best. That's what the thing was. You were 0 for 7.
It don't matter yet.
You're 0 for 7 against the
What's
best.
Greg saying? Listen, it's
going to be 0 for 10 by the time the year ends.
Hold up. What was Greg saying all year, and now we know it's not going to happen? It don't matter. It don't matter. Just get in the playoffs. We're going to be in the top 3.
But you said the best got to beat the best, and you haven't beat the best.
In the playoffs.
Not once. Not once. Not in 6
Not a
strats.
single one of you
7. 7.
7. Oh, 7.
And
Yeah,
you got 3 more. 2 against Cleveland and 1 against Boston. You're going to lose all 3.
Yeah.
I guarantee it.
We're going to get one.
Unless Cleveland's resting their team before the season or the playoffs start.
We won't be. We won't be. So
that's
right.
Maybe
you should. Maybe that's your problem.
Well, that's what they did tonight. They got a maintenance day for Cat. So it's all good.
Yeah.
Well, that is your bonus content for the night. Appreciate it. We will be back next week.
Yes, sir.